welcome back. Or hello, welcome for the first time. I am just giving you guys an update because I have been off of Seroquel for a year. Thank you. Thank you very much. I wanted to let you know how I'm feeling after a year off of that medication, how I'm sleeping or not sleeping, how that's impacted me that way. I wanted to touch on, I've also been off of Xanax for 10 months, how that impacted me, how it impacts my anxiety to this day, and all that good stuff. So, all right. Seroquel, I took for almost 4 years, and Xanax I took for almost 5 years. When I first got on Xanax, I was working with a doctor who just said, this anxiety disorder is causing your insomnia. I have had trouble sleeping since I was very, very young, but I was open to anything. And I got started on Xanax. That was about 1 milligram a day for a while. Then we went up to 2 milligrams a day, which most people will recognize 1 bar of Xanax, one of those little bars. And within, about a year, I got up to 4 milligrams a day of Xanax. So that, I believe, is the highest legal dose. At that point, I was referred to a psychiatrist, and I was put on Lexapro, which is an antidepressant that also helps with anxiety, and also on Seroquel at that point. I did not know that Seroquel was an antipsychotic. I just thought it was a sleep aid because it was prescribed to me for sleep. I think that's one of the things that I wish I would have been better about, asking more questions about medication and advocating for myself in that way. So if you are, seeing a psychiatrist, if you're seeing a doctor for medications, definitely encourage you to not be shy about asking, what this is for, what its side effects may be. At that point in my life, I was just desperate to fall asleep at night. I was tired of seeing sunrises day after day and wondering if I was going to get through my shift at work. I was also at that point, I was drinking basically every day. And when you drink, and you're on Xanax, you lose time. You lose a lot of time. And I am very lucky that I am alive. There are going to always be things that I look back on where I know I probably expressed very real parts of myself that I would have never told anyone, and I will never know what I shared with certain people. So anyways, if you are on medication, please just don't drink or look into that. Seek support because holy shit. Okay. On Seroquel. When I was on Seroquel, I put on a lot of weight. I didn't realize at the time that insulin resistance is increased or encouraged when you're on Seroquel. A lot of people who take it on a consistent basis have a heightened risk for type 2 diabetes. If you're on Seroquel, I'm not a doctor. Please speak with your physician about what you think is good for you and your body. I went from about 165 pounds up to about 220 pounds in probably about 7 months when I was on Seroquel. At that point in my life, I was so depressed and having really dark thoughts already. So I didn't even fully process that the medication addition had directly contributed to my weight gain. And I just I just got sadder and sadder. I was sleeping at night and I wasn't having anxiety attacks anymore because I was on an ungodly amount of Xanax throughout the day. And then I would finish the night with Seroquel. Anyways, getting off of Seroquel, it was very, very hard. I have videos and memories coming up in my camera roll now that's like, hey, remember when you were crying because you couldn't fall asleep at night? And you were just, your skin was itching and it sucked. I wasn't able to work full-time while I got off of Seroquel and Xanax. I had very irregular night's sleep. I would never fully know when I would fall asleep, and I was just thankful when I could. What ended up impacting me and helping me fall asleep at night is I purchased a year-long subscription to Rise. It's a sleep app, Rise. And that basically the first few nights tracks your sleep and then lets you know, hey, you're going to have like a morning peak of energy here and you're going to fall into your melatonin window here. And for me, the most important part was like understanding what my natural melatonin window was. And then I would take Benadryl and Tylenol PM and encourage that melatonin window and try to hit an actual like rhythm in my sleep and in my life, which I had never really done before. I think that I had said to, like, I was very chaotic for a long time. And I thought that that meant that I was having like freedom and I felt more in control because I was able to do things that I wanted. But I also know I was on a lot of drugs. And it was very self-destructive for me. So anyways, so I used Benadryl and, you know, over-the-counter stuff to help encourage my melatonin window and get into like a rhythm of sleep. Once the year expired, I didn't go back to using it because it's $60 that have been very hard to come by during this recession. So anyways, that's one thing that helped with sleep. I can usually fall asleep without too much. Occasionally I will either consume some cannabis or some Tylenol PM, and that does help me relax before bed. But it's not impossible to sleep again after taking Xanax and Seroquel for years. So that's really encouraging. For getting off of Xanax, it's hard to get off of benzodiazepines. It can be very dangerous to get off of benzos. So I was tapered down, thank God, from 4 milligrams a day to 1 milligram a day. And then I moved out of state of my old, where I used to live, and my psychiatrist basically was like, I can't fill these. He could, technically, a psychiatrist here told me, but it doesn't matter because he needed to get me off of it. So that was his reasoning, I guess. I am just surprised I wasn't decreased and taken off sooner. I then worked with a psychiatrist here. She put me on a low dose of Klonopin, which is also a benzodiazepine, but it's a slow release. It's not like Xanax is immediately that. There's nothing like taking Xanax and the calm that falls over your body. So I haven't been able to recreate it with anything, and that's good. It's something that I've learned to manage my experiences in life outside of it. Anxiety attacks definitely still came on, especially once I was out of Klonopin. But I had different ways of dealing with it. It's not easy. You are going to have mornings where you have that nausea, that sitting, the increase of phlegm, because your body thinks that you're choking because you're having a physical response to your anxiety. I would encourage you to stock up on some Dramamine for the mornings because you are going to have nausea. Try to find a 10-minute, for me, it was just a meditation, and I know these all sound very trite and near impossible when you're currently getting off of Xanax, and I am very sorry that if you're going through that right now. Obviously, if you're getting off of it, I hope that you're working with a doctor. But another thing that helped me, other than Dramamine, understanding that I would throw up and not fighting it as much, I would take some perfume, my favorite perfume. I would spray a little bit on me. I would spray it on a stuffed animal. I got myself a new stuffed animal that was for decreasing my anxiety as I knew I was getting off of benzos. And if you are, more of an adult or more professional, you could use a silk handkerchief. You could use something that you could wrap around your wrist, something that has like a tactile response. I would encourage you to look for something like that to help decrease your anxiety. Drink tea, like drink warm things that are gonna give you a sense of comfort. Your body is going to be very much rebelling, and it's okay to treat it like a child. So warm drinks, things that are easy to digest. Take an ice cube if it's ever really bad. You can feel your heartbeat in your wrist, or you can feel that choking in your throat. Just place an ice cube on this pressure point. I think I saw this on TikTok. I don't know. But it helps like just slow down, and it helps me kind of ground through that anxiety. Anyways, I think that's basically what I have in my back pocket for getting off of those drugs and some of the things that helped me. There are the very last things, which is, just, hey, be mindful of what you're consuming. Consume, if you want to consume caffeine, I usually stop drinking caffeine right about 10:30 in the morning at latest. I try to be mindful of the fact that I don't think that alcohol agrees with me anymore. I can still occasionally have a beverage, but what I've found for myself is I don't sleep very well when I drink. My moods are a little bit harder to predict, and if I'm less predictable for me, then my anxiety increases and just all that good stuff. So I know it's not easy to get off of drugs and to stop drinking and to stop habits that are comforting, even if they're self-destructive, because they're comforting and they're ways of feeling safe in a weird way, even if they're very damaging to ourselves. But I would encourage you, if you watch this far, thank you. But I would encourage you to listen to yourself. If you're like, hey, I wonder if these habits are damaging me and impacting me in a negative way. If you're asking yourself some of those questions, the answer might be yes, most likely will be yes. And I would encourage you to try to get off for a while. Take a break. Give yourself a break. You might feel a lot better. I know I fucking do. So, okay, well, all in all, I've gone from my highest weight on Seroquel, which was 250 pounds. I have lost 50 pounds and my mobility is much, much better. I do sleep at night. It's not the best sleep in the world, but it's definitely not the worst. And my anxiety attacks are very limited, and I can usually identify when they're coming on, so I know the best things to do. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching, and good luck with your health and wellness. I will check in with you guys in probably about 3 weeks to a month. All right, bye.